guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be doing a sequel to the So You Want to Be a Paranormal Investigator video. I get a lot of questions, even still, about things that aren't really mentioned in the video, and I kind of just want to do like a little updated version. So this will be like the part 2 to that. So this will be great for anybody, even if you're already in the field, if you want to start your own channel, if you want to find a team, anything like that is going to be covered today. Even if you're just starting out, this could be very informative for you. So we are just going to get started. So the first question that I get all the time is, how do I start my own YouTube channel? So they want to be a paranormal investigator and they want to have their own YouTube channel. And I just want to make some things very clear. Just because you're doing a YouTube channel does not mean that you make money. I do not make money. I pay for every location that I go to, and it gets very expensive. Different places charge different amounts of money. More popular places or more popularized places you could spend more money. Just as an example, my Bobby Mackey's episode, it was $600 to do that. Whereas you go somewhere like Whisper's Estate, I think was $300. So it's going to vary in price depending on where you go. Bigger locations will cost more money. Places like West Virginia Penn was $1,000 for an overnight. But you can kind of do that as you go, as you kind of grow. But just because you're making a YouTube channel doesn't mean you're going to make money. You're probably going to spend money before you make money. Just be advised that in order for a YouTube channel to make money, you now have to qualify for the YouTube Partnership Program. And the regulations of that typically change quite frequently. But the regulation currently is that you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you also have to have 4,000 watch time hours within a 12-month consecutive time. So it sounds like a lot, but I promise that if you're posting consistently and you enjoy what you do, you'll get there. Now, a lot of people don't make YouTube channels because they want to make money. They make YouTube channels because they really enjoy what they do and they want to show everybody, which I highly suggest. If you are a paranormal investigator and you want to show your stuff, your evidence or whatever, I do suggest doing that. You can just create a channel. A lot of people are worried about the logistics of it though. They go, well, I don't want my channel to fail, or I'm just nervous because I want it to be this, this, and this. And the problem is a lot of people will, they'll be perfectionists about it, and they'll put it off so much that it just, you never give your channel the chance to even start. You're already like shutting it down. I get a lot of people who go, okay, well, I'm gonna start my channel when I do this location, or I'm gonna start my channel after I get this, this, and this. But the thing is, nobody starts off perfect. No channel is perfect when it starts, and the only way that they're perfect is if they're paying somebody to do all their editing for them. And I'm gonna guess that a lot of you guys aren't that, we're not doing that. I don't do that. It would probably cost a lot of money to do so. I do everything myself, so I'm guessing that you guys are going to end up doing a lot of the things yourself too, and that's okay. So just keep that in mind when you go to start a channel, that it's not going to be perfect, that it's going to take some work. If you go back and watch some of my older stuff, I've changed a lot as both an investigator, as an editor, as a promoter, just in general, and you can tell the difference. So as you grow as a channel, your videos will become better. So don't write yourself off just because they're not perfect in the beginning. So we talked a little bit about private and public events. I do want to mention that if you do want to start your own YouTube channel, a lot of places won't let you film for YouTube if you're doing a public event, because for one, there are other people there. I don't do it because I don't want to get contamination in my evidence from other people, so that's why I film private. Some other places will not allow you to do it because when you technically buy the private event, you're buying the rights to, some places have like filming fees and things like that you have to go through. So there are kind of loopholes. Also, you're not really getting permission from the other people that are there to film. So they might not want to be in your channel, things like that. So you're going to have to watch out for that. Another thing that I want to mention is everybody does things differently. So just because one person says, hey, that piece of equipment doesn't work, blah, blah, that doesn't mean that it doesn't work for you. And this is what I mean. As an investigator, you're gonna find that different equipment works well with you versus other people. So like everybody loves SLS camera, which is perfectly fine. That's okay. I don't, because to me, it's not definitive enough proof for me to sit there and look at it and go, okay, well, there is a spirit. To me, like, I don't think that way. So I tend to not lean towards using my SLS camera, which is kind of a shame because I paid $400 for it. But you're gonna learn that through trial and error. So basically what I'm saying is just because somebody says, hey, you should get an SLS camera, you know, they're the best in the market or something like that, doesn't necessarily mean that that's gonna be your equipment of choice. And also, like me, I'd never look down on somebody for using a piece of equipment. Like me personally, I don't believe in pendulums, I don't believe in dowsing rods, but that doesn't make me a better investigator than somebody who does use that. That's not the case. I would never dog on somebody for using it. So you need to take into perspective that a lot of the equipment is, it's all about perspective. And it's speculative on whether or not it actually works. So keep that in mind when you're communicating with other people in groups and things like that. Don't just come after them and say, hey, like that doesn't work. I usually just say, like, for me, it doesn't work, but if you're getting evidence, like it could be one thing. But definitely don't think that you're better than everybody else just because you have, you know, just because in your mind you think that this equipment's better, like you're not higher than anybody else. Just keep that in mind, that everybody's kind of on the same playing field here, and that a lot of the times we're all going after the same thing. We're all trying to get the same definitive proof, but we're all doing it in different ways. So definitely just be respectful to everybody in the community when you do join. Anyway, so basically there's no one size fits all piece of equipment that is the holy grail that everybody needs to have. I mean, maybe the DR60s for recorders, but those are really expensive and they don't make those anymore. Again, just because somebody says that, you know, hey, you need to try this, doesn't mean that you need to necessarily have it. So I watch my budget by what I do is when I first started, I did a lot of public investigations, and this helped me, one, meet a lot of people, and I became friends with those people, and I was like, hey, can I have advice, kind of thing, like asking for advice. But a really good thing was that everybody was so diverse in the amount of equipment that they had that it was easy for me to kind of like jump around to different groups and meet new people and be like, oh, what equipment do you have? And they would show me, and then we'd kind of test it right then and there, and I would go, okay, do I like this enough that I want to spend the amount of money to buy it? And that's something that I think that if you are doing public investigations, you could easily do, because there is so much equipment in the market, and each piece of equipment works differently, and you want to find what works best for you. You don't want to be wasting your money buying $400 SLS cameras if you're not going to use them. And that was kind of my thing. Unfortunately, I didn't know anybody that had an SLS camera, and I really, really wanted to try one really badly. So I did end up buying one, and you know, we use it in a couple different locations, but I think to me, I'm not too certain on if it's a glitch or not. So for me, I kind of just discredit that as a whole. But that's just me. If anybody does use this an SLS camera, no beef, that's them, and I'm sure that you can get great evidence with that. My biggest beef in the paranormal is trespassing. Please do not trespass. I don't know how many times I've seen people trespassing on my Instagram lately. And I just want to remind people that I know that you may think that it is a victimless crime, but it is not. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because let's say Joe Schmo takes a group of people to an abandoned place and they're trespassing, and you know, somebody could get hurt, The state could get involved, things like that. Here's also a bigger problem. So let's say Joe Schmo invites all these people to come and trespass at this location. They tell their friends, they tell their friends, and all of a sudden you've got all these people coming here, and the state starts to think that it's this big nuisance, that one, the building is just an eyesore, and two, all these people are just going to this building, they're potentially getting hurt, they're potentially committing crimes in this building. They will start to get irritated, and that's when they will either turn around and sell the building, they'll try to find a private owner who wants to fix it up or things like that, or if it's really a nuisance and they really don't like it, they'll tear it down. And then nobody gets to investigate it, which is really sad. But if a private owner does decide that they want to buy it, they have to turn around and spend their hard-earned money to fix up the building so that way then they can start making money. I don't trespass. Every location that I have featured on my channel, one, I have permission to film, and two, I have paid to do so. And that money that they get goes back into fixing those buildings. And I think that's so important. Please do not trespass. It is not a victimless crime. I've been trying to get into this place for months. It's a place called Willow's Week. And I had contacted the owner like 4 months ago. We were talking, and then all of a sudden he kind of just like dropped off, and I kept trying to message him, but he wasn't answering. And I just went to his Facebook today, and come to find out, he is no longer doing investigations. And there was a few reasons why, but primary reason why was because the location itself was just too dark, and he didn't want to deal with that. And the second reason was because there was way too many people trespassing. They were coming in, they were damaging the property. He was spending so much money trying to fix everything up. So what he is doing is he has a couple documentary crew people that are working on stuff, and after that is done, he is bulldozing the building, which is very sad that it has come to that. But trespassing is not the answer. A lot of the times you can find a way to contact owners and get in buildings. You just need to do your work to get into that. And if you can't, then you can't. I won't go into places for that reason, because it may seem like nobody's gonna have to deal with it, especially if I don't break stuff or if I don't do stuff like that. But word spread, more people go. I found this group on Facebook for Indiana's abandoned places, and all of them are trespassers, and it bothers me so bad. And I shouldn't even be putting them on blast right now, but honestly, stop trespassing. Please don't trespass. It hurts the community. Trespassing hurts the community. Get permission wherever you go before you go. Please don't trespass. You can get permission by simply reaching out to the owners. A lot of these places are owned by private owners. They have Facebook pages, they have emails, they have Google accounts. You can find them, or you can put up a post maybe on Reddit for people who are looking for the abandoned buildings. You'll always be able to track it down to somewhere. And if you can't find somewhere, I advise contacting the state. Sometimes state parks and recs will be able to help you, and then sometimes state police will be able to help you if you need help finding a way into contacting. Sometimes you have to get permission by the state, which is a pain in the butt. It can happen though, but you can get there. A lot of people ask me, how do I find a paranormal group or team to become a part of? Or how do I start my own? Now, when you're starting off in the paranormal, that can be something that you can explore. I'm personally not part of a team because my logic doesn't fit well with a lot of other people. I don't have a religion. I'm very skeptical about a lot of things, and for some people, it can rub people the wrong way. So I tend to stick by myself, but it doesn't have to be that way. If you want to be part of a group, you can go to Facebook. And a lot of the times groups will post if they're looking for new team members. Now, sometimes that can be a little tricky because sometimes you have to apply, sometimes there's an application fee. It can really just depend on the group. So My best advice would be to do a trial run with the group and figure out if you guys actually mesh together. A lot of the times groups will have specific people who do specific things. So there'll be the researcher, there'll be the booker, or things like that, like the treasurer, somebody who collects the money and things like that. See how you would fit into that group before actually signing up for that group. Some groups, they have mandatory like meetings, or some groups have mandatory like you have to go to every investigation. Sometimes they let you skip out. It really just depends on the group. So I do your research for the group, make sure that that's something that you want to do, and then do a trial run with them. See if you even like some of those people. You know, I'd hate to see people sign up for groups that they don't even like. So make sure that you're careful about that. Now, starting your own group can be a bit different, because when you have the opportunity to join a team that already kind of has themselves established, they already kind of have the money to do things, it's a little bit easier because people will already have equipment. Now, when you're starting your own group, obviously you're starting from scratch and you probably don't have a whole lot of stuff. Definitely start slow and only invite like-minded people to be a part of your group. You know, I find that when I was doing public investigations and I was meeting people, a lot of the times their ideas really wouldn't line up with my ideas, and sometimes that can be frustrating. You know, sometimes they can say, oh, that was definitely paranormal, or that was definitely a spirit, and I'd be sitting there going, I don't really think so, I'm not really agreeing. Now, that doesn't mean that we wouldn't get along, but it goes a lot smoother when you have people who are like-minded and think like that. If you're looking for more information on groups, I highly recommend Epicedium Paranormal has a video. It's very, very in-depth, very informative. I will link that below. I would definitely check that out if you're looking for information on how to join groups and things like that. Another thing is don't be cocky, and I think I covered that a little bit earlier. Don't think that you're better than everybody else for this reason or that reason, or let's say, you know, you're financially stable, you can afford to do places. Don't think that you're better than everybody else. Don't look at other people and just roll your eyes. You need to be respectful when you're dealing with other people. Just because their logic doesn't line up with yours doesn't mean that you're better in any sort of way. You still need to be accepting. Also, it's okay to take a break. I know this seems really weird, but if you're in the middle of an investigation and things are getting rough for you, or it's too much, it's okay to step outside. It's okay to take that like 10-minute breather outside, get away from it. It is fine to do so. It's not a pansy way out. I do that a lot. Well, not a lot, but you know, sometimes I do that where I'll just go, all right, I'm gonna go take a small break. This is getting to be too much. It's taking a lot of my energy. I'll take a small break and then I'll come back to it. And a lot of the times you have that like second wind, and it's good for you. Now, another thing about being too cocky is don't automatically assume that a place isn't haunted or it is haunted. And here's what I mean by that. When I was starting out doing public investigations, I had conquered Hillview, okay? And I say that because I've been to Hillview so many times that getting evidence there is easy for me because I know the spirits and they know me. I know that sounds really weird, but I was like, let's do West Virginia Penn and it'll be perfectly fine. And we went in thinking that we were going to do so great, and it literally kicked the crap out of us. We were not expecting any of what happened. I wasn't expecting the energy, so do keep in mind different places have different types of energy. You're going to come across different types of spirits, things like that. We can actually talk about that now. So another thing I want to mention is the different types of energy that you are going to come across. So different types of entities are different. How else would I put that? So you have residual energy. Now, residual energy a lot of the times won't answer your questions directly. they are going to repeat certain words or phrases or repeat certain noises or things like that. They're not on cue, and it happens randomly. This is because in theory, residual energy happens when the surroundings are perfectly aligned. The theory is that somehow they are trapped in a time loop, or they're re-experiencing their tragic experience over and over again. So when the conditions are exactly like that, that's when stuff happens. Now, a lot of the times you can tell when residual energy is residual because it doesn't answer intelligently. So when you say, hey, can you repeat a knock for me? And nothing happens. Or like you get an EVP that doesn't have anything to do with the question that was asked, or you get a random EVP that has nothing to do with what's going on. A lot of the times it's probably going to be residual. I'd say things like screams, coughs, sneezes, banging noises. A lot of the times those are more on the residual side. You also have intelligent hauntings. Now, this is a little bit different. Intelligent hauntings typically answer intelligently your questions. They'll pretty much do things on cue for you. Now, it doesn't always happen, but if you're lucky, it does. So that would be intelligent. So intelligent, typically, they know that they're dead, or they know that they're a spirit, and they're very conscious. So they can answer questions like what their name is, or what year they were born, things like that. That's gonna be your intelligent energy. There are also things like poltergeist energy. I do believe that they border intelligent. They can also move things. I really don't know much about poltergeist activity. I've never really come across it. It's totally possible that the Monroe House investigation was a poltergeist, but I'm not too certain because it's not something that I experience quite frequently. I'd say the most common thing I experience is either residual or intelligent. I'd say like 95% of the time it's residual or intelligent for me. Another thing that you could experience is a demonic entity. Now, that doesn't happen as often as TV shows portray. That's another thing I want to talk about is TV shows. We'll get there. Demonic entities typically don't happen very often. I think maybe in my whole career I've ever experienced demonic entities maybe once or twice. And this is because I'm not somebody that automatically jumps to the conclusion that things are demonic. I know in my previous video we talked about debunking a lot, and in this video we'll probably talk about demonic things. So here's the thing. When I was taught in this ghost hunting seminar, yes, I took a ghost hunting seminar, basically with demonic entities, it doesn't happen as often as it's portrayed to happen on TV shows. And that's because TV shows are out there to get the best of the best, aren't they? They want you to be entertained. They want you to be sucked in and watch, because the more that you watch, the more money they make. So the thing about demonic entities is that the Catholic Church actually has a list on their website of the symptoms that you actually have to have if you want your home to be cleansed, or if you want like an exorcism or things like that. In order for them to even come out and look at your home or to come and try to help you, you have to at least meet some of the things that are on the checklist. Now, I'm having trouble tracking down the checklist, and I don't remember exactly the things, but I think it was like 8 or 10 things, and you have to at least have more than half of those things for them to even consider, because they're trying to determine if it's a psychological issue or if it's actually a demonic issue. So unfortunately, I've recently learned that TV shows actually, well, from being in the field, I can tell you that what happens on TV shows is not what happens in the actual field. So if you want to go into the actual field and you're thinking that what's happening on TV shows is what's going to happen, it's not. Most of the time you're sitting there trying to think of how you can drum up activity. A lot of the times you're rotating between different equipment because you're not sure what places respond well to what. Sometimes certain spirits like certain things, some like EVP, some like spirit box. You have to figure that out through trial and error. You know, you don't just walk in and you're automatically like getting things on your equipment. Sometimes it happens. It's happened twice out of every place that I've ever been to. But most of the time you have to figure out how to get them to respond to you. How to get them to react, or if you're dealing with residual energy, you have to figure out what conditions it was that, or what conditions it has to be to get things to happen, and that's so much harder. So you can imagine a lot of the times it's countless hours of sitting down, talking to yourself, trying to get things to happen. So keep that in mind. If you think it's like TV shows, it's really not. And I just recently did the Bobby Mackey's video. I was very upset because everything that I thought I knew about Bobby Mackey's had been pushed so much through and circulated through different TV shows. And come to find out, when I was on the tour, talking to the tour guide, a lot of what was portrayed as truth on the TV shows were actual urban legends, and I'd say like 50% of it hadn't been proved. So that's kind of disappointing to me. If you watch my channel, you know that I want nothing but the truth for everybody. So I was kind of upset to hear that. But yeah, TV shows, they're not making money if you're not watching. So a lot of the times they dramatize evidence, or they, I don't want to say they fake evidence. I don't have proof of that. But a lot of the times they'll dramatize, they'll scream, they'll make it seem a lot scarier than it actually is, because they're trying to get that. So if you're screaming while you're doing an investigation, maybe you probably shouldn't be doing an investigation. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a public investigation and I've heard people scream because they get scared. I don't know if that's like a teenage thing or something like that, but that's quite disruptive towards everybody else. So another thing that you want to consider is, if you are doing public events, you need to be considerate of the other people around you. So if you're doing a public event, you want to wear shoes, like tennis shoes. You don't want to be wearing like loud boots or things that are going to make a bunch of noise. You also don't want to wear clothes that are going to disrupt your EVP process. So you don't want to wear like silky clothes kind of like rubbed together. I don't think they make too much noise, but when it's cold, you definitely want to wear your jacket, but be aware that jackets kind of, they make noise. So if you hear that on your EVP recorder, I'm kind of just rambling at this point. You don't want to be wearing obnoxious chains. Don't be loud and yell. Don't scream. Other people are trying to investigate too, and you need to be respectful of that. They pay just as much money as you to be there. You're not better than everybody else. Be respectful. So don't be screaming. Don't be yelling for each other down the hallway. That's not, there are other people there. They're trying to conduct their research, same as you. So be respectful. I also want to quickly mention that if you like this video and if this video actually helped you, please leave a like. I don't know if it's actually gonna help you. I feel like I was just rambling. There's a lot of information though. I get questions all the time. How do I do this? How do I do that? And I figured I would put it into a video for you guys to help you. I hope it helped you. I'm stupid. Anyway, I just want to mention that if you guys are fans of the channel, or if you just genuinely enjoyed the quality content that I'm giving you, we do have shirts that are available for purchase. So like I said, I'm actually not making money on YouTube yet. I don't qualify for the YouTube program yet, but I'm hoping to qualify soon. But even if I don't, I'm still going to continue making videos because this is my passion. I'm so passionate about going and investigating and showing you guys the evidence. It's so cool to travel and get to do places like that. So if you want to support my channel, I do have our new shirts that you can buy. So they're the Amber's Asylum shirts. They come in black with white lettering, and then I have white with black lettering. They are $25 per purchase, and they include free shipping to anybody in the United States. So if you want to get your hands on the t-shirts, definitely write me on Instagram or message me like on Facebook or whatever, and I'll give you guys details on how to purchase those. Thank you so much for watching. If I think of anything else, I will hop back on and I will make it real quickly. I can't really think of anything else. I don't know. So I'll see you guys next time.